mentioned that you went to college for a year. So were you doing that while you were battle rapping, or did you have like
No,
another?
that's actually how I got into rap. I wasn't a rapper when I was in college.
Okay.
I always was interested in hip hop. Like, me having my brother that's 5 years older than me, his room would be close enough for me to hear him playing music and stuff like that. And then like the first time that I heard um Keith Murray, Most Beautiful Thing in the World, I fell in love with hip hop. So I would
Keith
sit next to
Murray
his
is so
door,
underrated too.
isn't he? So I would sit next to his door and try to hear stuff. And I love the beats and stuff like that. And I just became really, really big on hip hop. But I never felt like I knew how to rap. So I just never did anything with it. And then when I went to college, I had a radio show called I Dream of Shooney, and it was really popular on the campus. And then I started to like host this thing called they had like Common Hour on Wednesdays, which meant that people didn't have classes after 12 o'clock. There were no more classes, so
Okay.
people would like hang out in the cafeteria and stuff. So I would host like the poetry slam, or if they were doing like pie contests or whatever. So I was doing all of that. And then so it just so happened that they had the on-air studio, and then next door they had the recording studio. So while I'm doing my shows, one of the guys comes in and he's like, "Hey, can you do this hook for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." So, they wrote it, and all I had to say was, "You on your grind, nigga, stack." And then they like kind of looped it. And so then we did that on a Friday. I didn't go back to school on Monday. I ended up cutting school for whatever reason. And then when I went back on Tuesday, everybody's like, "Yo, your voice sounds crazy on the track." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even hear it yet." So when I heard it, I was like, I do sound kind of nice on this track. So I start gassing myself up. And
Yeah.
then they're like, they're doing like this little track, and everybody that was in the studio was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on it, I'm on it, I'm on it." So then I was like, "You know what? Me too." And it was like, "You rap?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess."
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I
yeah.
wrote, yeah, so I wrote a little rap. It wasn't all that, but they liked it, you know what I mean? And
You
it
still
was
got
just
it?
I don't still have it, but I know just a part of it was kind of like, "Yo, it's Shooney." I said, "Yo, it's Shooney, something, something, could your man want to do me?" Probably because I got more class than CUNY. And something, something,
Oh.
put a glass on my booty. Just, and I had no, I don't know why I was acting like my butt was so big, but but it was fly because of the metaphor, the more class than CUNY, because that's the community universities of New York. So everybody was like, "Oh yeah, that was so fire, da, da, da," whatever. So then when I got home, I was on the way home with my sister and my manager at the time, Jay Loyal, and we were in the car. And I'm like, "Hey," well, he wasn't my manager at the time, but we were in the car, and I'm like, "Hey, I want to rap." And he's like, "Huh?" And then my sister looks back like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to rap." And they're like, "You serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I did a little song at the school or whatever. And then so Jay goes, "All right, if you serious, if you freestyle from here," and we was in Manhattan, and we were going back to Mount Vernon, which is like a 35-minute ride if you driving at the speed that he drives, 80 miles.
Right.
But
Don't be snitching.
so he's like, "If you freestyle from here home, I'll pay for the whole project." So I did just that, and it
Wait,
wasn't
like
the
off the
freestyle
top?
off the top, and they weren't the greatest, you know what I mean? But I was doing it. So he would point to a car, point to the person walking with a dog and stuff like that. So I just, I did the whole thing. And when we pulled up, he was like, "All right, whatever you need." And he paid for the studio time, he paid for the CDs, because this was at the time where people had to get the CDs in that big little tray that you had to burn them, and you needed a burner, and he
They don't
needed
know
the
about that.
thing. Yeah, you needed the thing to put the picture on it. You had to buy the CD cases and put your pictures in the sleeve and all. So it was quite a few things that went into that. You know what I mean? And then the studio time was like, at that point, I think it was like $30 an hour. So, he was paying for that. He paid for the beats,
Mm.
everything when it came to filming the video. So then all of that happened. And that's how I became Shooney the Rapper. And it was really supposed to just be Shooney, but at that time, that's when MySpace was popping. And I made 2 pages because I wanted one to be my music page and I wanted one to be my
Right.
regular page. So everybody kept saying, "Well, why do you have 2 pages?" So then I was like, "Oh God." So I changed the heading URL to Shooney the Rapper page. But of
Mm.
course, you couldn't see the word page. So everybody thought my name was Shooney the Rapper. And I was like, "Okay, my name is Shooney the Rapper." So I kept that. And then I went with that, right? So then I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter in 2015. So at that time that I started doing the regular rapping, and I was, you know, doing shows down in the city in New York City, because it's really big underground scene. So I was like, you know, pretty big there, doing
Right.
a whole lot of stuff. And paying for a lot of stuff, you know, with my team and stuff. And then got pregnant 2014ish, and then had my daughter in 2015. So at that time I was on Twitter. Twitter, you know, was getting popular and stuff. And I ran into DNA on Twitter. I don't remember how exactly,
Shout
but
out to
he
D.
sent me, yeah, so he sent me his battle, him versus Rome. That was one of the first battles that I had ever seen. That was crazy. Remember, he had the
Was that the
bombs.
first one?
That was the first thing I've ever seen. Yep. And so from there, you know, it gives you the suggestions. So then it suggested another battle, and then another battle, and another battle. So I became hooked, and that became my favorite pastime while I was pregnant. You know, I couldn't go outside, I couldn't really do anything. And then at the same time, simultaneously as me getting acclimated with battle rap, I keep getting these messages in my inbox on Twitter like, hey, you should battle rap. There's a thing called Queen of the Ring. You should try out. You should do it. But I didn't know what Queen of the Ring was at that time. So I just kept ignoring what he was, you know, asking me and saying. Then finally, DNA invited me to one of the URL battles, the one where Arsenal and Hitman battled. And the energy was crazy.
That
Yeah,
battle was so nasty.
it
That
was
is
sick,
one of my
right?
favorite.
Yo, the energy in there was crazy. Like it was to the point where you don't know everybody that's in the crowd, but
Right.
because we're all here for the likeness of battle rap, you start talking to people, you high five and like, yo, you heard that boy, this, that, and that. You know what I mean? I felt home. Like it felt like hip hop to me. And so that right there made me feel like, yo, this is really kind of something dope. And then the next day, that same person hits me again on Twitter, like, hey, you should come to Queen of the Ring. And finally I responded, like, what is Queen of the Ring? Oh, it's a battle rap for females. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I should do this. So I was like, okay, I need $200. I'm gonna do it. He was like, all right, we normally don't pay people, but I'm gonna pay you. I'm gonna give you $200, whatever. So he gave it to me. I got my hair, my nails done, all of that stuff. And then that's when I had my first battle versus Norma Bates. And that's how I got into battle rap. And from that battle, when it dropped on YouTube, people were coming up to me, can I have your autograph? Oh my God, just Shooney Da Rapper, crying, going crazy. And it was like nothing I have ever seen before. And like I said, I was already in love with it from when I went to the URL battle and seen it myself and felt the, you know, everything, and just it just felt right. And they were paying me for my, you know, my property as opposed to me paying for shows like I used to do when I was trying to get on and everything.
Right.
So from there, it became history, and it was like battle rap is like the best thing that ever happened. You know,